how to set boundaries with a sex addict. This is really important because when you have any kind of addict, you have challenges with boundaries. It's not because they're bad people per se, it's because they're immature. All addictions, alcohol, drugs, sex, food, sets you up to be spiritually, emotionally, and morally immature because you stop developing when you use the addiction to medicate your life. And it takes a while after the addiction to become mature. So if you're married to a sex addict, you have probably felt like you have an extra child. Developmentally, that would be the way you feel. Okay, it's all about them. They can't understand your pain. They lack empathy. Some women even go as far as saying, oh, I'm married to a narcissist. You're not. We have a great DVD called, I think it's called Sex Addict, Intimacy, Anorexia, and Narcissism. So if you're kind of going down that trail with yourself, watch that DVD. It's really thoroughly helpful on that topic. But your feelings of what you're experiencing are totally valid. They're not empathetic. They're self-centered. They're grandiose. But it's not because of disorder. In most cases, it's really because they're immature. So having boundaries with an immature person is part of the challenge. So let's first define what a boundary is and isn't, okay? First, if the sex addict is in recovery, they should have their own boundaries as far as no masturbation, no porn, no talking to specific people, grooming people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? And then they have consequences, 1, 2, 3. The first time they do it, the second time they do it, the third time they do it. So let's pick an example. Masturbation. Say, I'm not going to masturbate, okay? But they do, and they set a consequence, I will go pick up trash for 2 hours. Now, if they don't pick up the trash, and they're kind of like saying, you know what, I'm not going to do it, then you would have what we call a recovery boundary. Now, a recovery boundary is only if they don't follow their own program. Now, if they don't, you can say, okay, that's fine. If you're not going to pick up trash within the 28, 24, 48 hours you said, then at the end of 2 days, I'm going to stop whatever, cooking for you, sleep in a different room. But it has to be something you can do without their help. A boundary with a sex addict is not, well, you masturbated, so now I'm going to tell you what you're going to do as a consequence. That's called parenting. And if you want to set up a situation where you stay the parent instead of letting this person mature, they're not going to mature and they're going to resent you. And so that dynamic doesn't work. So you don't want to get into, well, I'm going to punish you if you do bad behavior. They have to start punishing themselves for bad behavior. If they don't, then you can do something in response to their lack of wanting to mature. Okay? So there are the sex addiction boundaries that they come up with and all that kind of stuff. Now, because you're dealing with immaturity, you might need boundaries around anger, staying out, being unaccountable for your time, or money, or other issues in the relationship that are just kind of dysfunctional. Now, that would be just setting up a boundary. Now, let me tell you this. If you have issues with boundaries, I have a DVD, I think it's 2+ hours long, on boundaries. And it's so important, especially if boundaries have been a challenge for you. Maybe you grew up in a family where you didn't have boundaries, or you have low self-esteem or worthless feelings. And if you feel worthless, get the DVD Worthy for sure. It's really helpful. But you might have not known what a boundary is and how to reinforce it if someone crosses it. And the DVD goes into way much more detail than I can do in a few minutes introducing this topic to you. But that DVD has changed people's lives. Watch it with your spouse so you're on the same page language-wise, and it's not you educating them, it's me educating them. And they seem to take it better when it's kind of like, oh, here's a professional who's been doing it for 35 years. He's the president of the American Association of Sex Addiction Therapy. You know, he understands partner betrayal trauma, so he's on both of our sides. And these things work because they've worked for couples for over 35 years. This isn't, you know, we're just coming up with something new today. And thousands of people have been helped by these principles. Now, going back to just generic boundaries, a generic boundary is something that you would both agree on. Okay, like you don't get to curse at me, right? That should be acceptable boundary. Now, so you would say to the addict, okay, we're going to need a boundary around cursing. So if you curse at me, what would your consequence be? And let them use their own brain. Say, okay, well, if I curse at you, I will do push-ups to failure twice, right in front of you, right then. Okay, because if you do that, you're going to be sore for a couple of days, especially if you're not in great shape, right? Or some other thing that they come up with. As long as it's somewhat reasonable, go along with it. Say, okay, well, that's fine. And then if they do curse at you, they do their push-ups, we're all good. He did his consequences. We don't have to get into discussing about it. He did it. Now, if he doesn't, then it's again where you would apply a recovery boundary after that and say, okay, you cursed at me, you didn't do your push-ups, so I'm going to not do your laundry. I'm not going to do this thing, or I'm going to do this thing. And again, it has to be something you can do 100% without their help, support, or anything. Okay? It's something that you do as an action to make sure that that action is unacceptable to you. And then when you're doing boundaries, you don't want to do 100 at a time. Okay, remember, you're dealing with an immature person. By definition, a sex addict is an immature person. They're using something to medicate their life, past, present, and that is an immature person who's medicating. Mature people don't medicate. They deal with the problems. They feel their feelings and they push through, and they get support, and they educate themselves. That's what mature people do to solve problems in life. But oftentimes the sex addiction started early in their life, and so this became a tool for them. So you can be compassionate that was then, but this is now, and creating boundaries is really important. Now, if you have problems maintaining your part of it, then you might want to be in a support group. We have a Facebook group for partners of sex addicts, and you can see that link for that. And also, you want to be in a group for partners, either a partners group or a Partner Betrayal Trauma group. If you haven't read the Partner Betrayal Trauma book or the Partners Healing from His Addiction, those are great books for you to read or to watch so that you can get help for you. Being a spouse of a sex addict is painful. You've been hit by a train. You're in trauma. A lot of things have happened here. You have to take care of you, especially if you're a mom. You need to be the best mom you can be, and that is you taking care of you. All right. So if you're trying to do this all by yourself, you're already at a disadvantage. There are lots of women that can help you through support groups. We have coaches and counselors. If you call 719-278-3708, they are happy to help you and get you into a group, move you through the process. You can work through the Partners Recovery Guide and really get some healing rapidly